All right, I'll be doing a DB video later this week. I've got a part of the script written, and then I'll grab some images. I was holding off on it for a little bit because on Twitter there was a new scandal that emerged where apparently Shueisha was going around and going after people who were posting anything related to DB and One Piece. And apparently it's some person that was impersonating them, but this actually terrified a lot of people, including some of the individuals that are, what's a good way of saying it, at the forefront of getting information about new stuff that's coming out. So people had their accounts locked to where you couldn't see their stuff unless you were following them. There were thoughts that this could spill over to YouTube as well. And if it had, it would have been very dangerous for me because I've used screenshots from the show. And that was apparently something they were targeting. But anyways, it seems like that was a hoax. So I'll resume with the video. You can expect it out at the latest by Friday. But I wanted to address something because a lot of times when you do a stream or a video, there are certain things that don't come up and don't get referenced or mentioned at the time you're talking about something, and they just kind of pour over into another topic. I would really like to do a video on this mind over matter stuff, which is to clarify when people say to you that your thought process on something, whether you believe it's going to happen or not, causes it to happen or to not happen. So you'll often see people, for example, who will say, if someone thinks they're going to fail a test, that means they're definitely going to fail it. You have people who will say, if someone doesn't think they're going to run for office and win, then they'll lose. Or you have people who will say, if you think a woman is not interested in you, then she's not going to be interested. And during this video, because I don't want to go entirely into it here, I was going to talk about how one of the reasons I really hate that justification for this stupid nonsense that's occurred over the last almost 10 years is that it assumes that every time I spoke to a woman that I always thought it would turn out in a non-positive manner, which is not true, and that I'd be willing to do an entire video just chronologically showing all the different instances where I thought it would turn out with the date at least, and then you end up getting squat. And the reason to do a video like that is to suggest that if believing that it would go the way you wanted didn't cause it to go the way you wanted, maybe we can reasonably infer that just because you might not think it'll turn out that way does not cause the person to act in the manner that is antagonistic to what you would like. And I was also going to give an example of how when you apply this type of thinking to other things, it also doesn't carry over. I had a voice actor, and I've mentioned this on 2 different streams before. I was going to do a video on it. I still might because it was pretty nasty. I had a voice actor who I worked with for 2 years. I thought the world of, and this year they disappeared. They vanished. They just were completely absent between April to November. And the entire time this was happening, because I was sympathetic to them from my past experiences with them, I bit my tongue like that and abstained from trying to recast them because this person had done work for me in the past. They had been proficient, they had been responsive, and it didn't seem to me that to reward them for their past good behavior, I would now punish them for, this instance of them not exactly doing what I would like to see. But again, I waited for this person, never tried to recast them. They send me a message in November, finally reappearing, admitting that they've been having some kind of troubles and whatnot, and they apologize for having ignored my attempts to contact them. And all is forgiven. I'm willing to take them back. They're talking about having a studio for their antics, for the stuff they want to record. And I told them, as long as you communicate with me, I will wait for you. And within less than a week, I say hello because they haven't responded to my next message. And that person announces that they no longer want to work on my show. So I waited for this person for months with the expectation that they would return at some point, and they did, and start recording stuff again, just for them to come back, suggest that they would record stuff, and then vanish. But I cite that as an example of how when you believe something will happen and it doesn't happen, you don't have people who tell you that your mindset caused that person to do that thing. And it's so sad that I have grown adults who, instead of addressing the nuances of these different stories that are conveyed by me, they would rather get into these weird psychological planes of, if you believe hard enough, it's like if you wish upon a star, it'll occur. King says the law of attraction is such an insufficient method because there isn't any scientific evidence to prove its effectiveness. Yeah, people just they spam and write all kind of stuff, and it's really sad to me because I think when you have people who are actually talking about this in a sophisticated manner, like to where they're not trying to attack somebody, I mean, it's on YouTube, Tamari. I actually should finish the next episode this week as well because I was adding the script for it was only like 12 minutes long, so I added some more stuff into it to like round it out to about 17 or 18 minutes. I got a new intro, so yeah, that'll be done before the month is over. I was really irritated when I was thinking about the situation with Triple L and how she as a person seemed to be kind of, it's like, put yourself in my position. You talk to a large assortment of chicks for, what is it, 6 years? And some of them you meet on the computer, some of them you meet in real life, some of them you go to school with, some of them you meet at the market, some of them you meet on Reddit, and some of them you talk to for a couple of months, some of them you talk to for a couple of weeks, some of them you talk to for a couple of days. Some of them compliment you in terms of your personality or, in more rare cases, your appearance. And it seems like no matter what you do, no matter how they act, you still keep getting the same end result. And then you have this woman who is so privileged when it comes to partners that she admits to having, before she was 20, multiple men try to marry her, attempt to tell you that your opinion on this topic is invalidated, not because she can disprove what you have to say. She can address your points of contention. Oh no, it's your age. Your age means that you can't actually be upset about this. And that's a running gag of people who have the antagonistic position of mind on this topic. They never seem to be able to address the points that are conveyed. Imagine me telling someone what you have experienced does not matter because of your age. I can't disprove what you're saying. I can't articulate why it wasn't that bad. I'm just going to use your age as a way of deflecting and dodging any of the criticisms you've directed. Yeah, King, I don't know what other one it would even be on, but whatever. Yeah, it sucks when you come out of and now you're all now getting treated like crap by women. Yep. But the reason the age thing was stupid to me is because I actually believe in reality. And I was making this point, and I really wish James was here because he could explain as well. James had said on one of my streams that he didn't believe if he lived in another era, like the 70s or the 80s or even the 90s, that he would have had a different result when it came to getting with a woman. And I was explaining to him that when you look at your father, your grandfather, would you really say to yourself that you are so inferior to these men that you just can't get with anybody, that it is you so specifically being a piece of garbage as opposed to the people around you having changed in some large manner? Oh, there you are. Yeah, but James, I was explaining what you said about how you didn't think you would be able to get with someone if you lived in a different era, and how a lot of these romance groups that people talk about, you didn't see them in the 70s or 80s or 60s or 50s, and there's a reason for that. But again, let's go back to this age thing because I wanted to, make sure that that was killed on site. Um, I'm someone who's had the privilege, I guess, of knowing certain things about past generations of men in my family. And I can tell you that between my father, his father, my father's father's father, my great grandfather, by the time all three of those men were in their mid 20s, they were either married or had had multiple long term relationships with women. So when I hear this bimbo talking about wait until you're 30, and it's like, what are you talking about? So I guess if you're in a different era, whether it's the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, you can assume that you'll be able to meet at least one person that's interested in you prior to being around for 3 decades. But now that you're in the supposed modern era, you have to hope and pray that upon reaching 30, this magic broad will show up. And like I said, when someone has a negative disposition towards this stuff, I don't see how any person who would experience the same result over and over again would be optimistic about their prospects on this. Imagine if you were a rapper and every record deal you went to for 7 years turned down your songs. They told you they didn't want to, that they liked your songs. They're not good enough to be on the radio. They give you some little nice compliment here before they cut out your prospect. Would you really say this is going anywhere after 7 years of getting the same result in trying to be a rapper that wants to get signed to a label and keeps getting ignored? I think we have to consider the significant factor social media and modern philosophies. Exactly. But listen, that's why I said when you have these people who try to tell you that this situation is normal or justified or makes any type of damn sense, it's really disturbing. If a woman can't be with you in a relationship for in a year, then it's her fault. Well, like I said, there's a weird thing among people where when you're put into a situation, you'll get blamed for it. But then if a woman's put in that same situation, she's able to avoid the blame. So if it came out that I rejected 80 or 90 women and, I said, no, these people are not good enough for me. I don't like them. I'm not interested, whatever. I would get blamed for those relationships not progressing. And I should, because if I made the decision to stagnate whatever they were trying to make with me. But if you get turned down by 90 different chicks, it's not their fault, even though they're the one who killed your aspiration to do something with them. So when you reject someone, if you're a man, it's your fault. But if you get rejected, it's not the woman's fault. You just weren't good enough, and now you have to go back to the damn drawing board. The double standards are just highly efficient. It's really scary. But you see that with that work on yourself mentality a lot of people have on here. And I always said that I think to tell somebody that they need to have problems with themselves that they wouldn't normally have if it weren't for not being with a woman is really dangerous, because it assumes that the woman as she is perfect in every way or is adequate, and that you as the man are always like down here. Like you can do all this stuff these people say to supposedly get on her level, but then if she says no, you're still down here. And again, a lot of the things they tell you to do are not reflected by the chicks themselves. So like as they're telling you to go to the gym, how many of these broads are in shape? People are very lucky I'm not as evil as I am depicted as, in that I don't post people's pictures. I can go on Facebook right now and show 8 or 9 different instances of some woman who was larger, let's be nice and say it that way, than her partner. But people want to talk about the appearance and whatnot. A man is viewed as a utility. Yeah, it's always like all these things they want you to do are done to appeal to some random broad that you, for all you know, doesn't even exist. That's why I did that video, Stop Promising Me a Woman, because these people, like, I don't, it's amazing to me how men who have never met you can promise you another person. That's a nice little conundrum. Just like a lot of the ones who tell you to have money, a lot of these chicks don't have a pot to piss in. I even, I always mention the dingbat with the baby because that's a person who is the same age as myself, who I guess seen have the longest lasting relationship of anybody my age. And I know that if she were a male and that man did half the stuff she did, he would be just verbally crucified as if he was the new coming of Satan. And again, a lot of people don't know the whole story with that person, but imagine paying for someone's storage unit so they can keep a bunch of clothes that they don't need inside of it after they caused themselves to go homeless by running their mouths. And then all you get in return, I'm presuming, is screwed a couple of times, cursed out over the phone, and being cheated on. It's kind of tricky when you say it like that, but how just mentioned you approach over 100 women in social media being an influence in dating. How is it your fault? Well, again, I think it's insane to, and just let's get back to this. I believe it is absolutely nuts to tell the person who tried to change it that it's their fault. The one person who tried to change things is the reason it stayed the same. Just think of how backward sounding that is. Imagine if a bunch of climate activists protested all across the US and then, we all get killed in 10 years from, the oceans going in each other and, people not doing things to address it. And then we say, oh, it was the climate activists. It was their fault. They didn't make compelling enough arguments. It's like, wait a second. The people who are actually warning us about it and were trying to get us to do something about it are the ones who bear the responsibility for it happening. What? But that seems to be the mentality of people who, for whatever reason, just are hell bent on being as antagonistic as possible to men on this topic. Blame the person, the one person who tried to change things for why they stay the same. That's a really excellent philosophy. But see, it's not really about them being able to criticize my actions, but more so just, the romance scapegoat. When you're a man and you're not with a woman, you get blamed for everything she decides. And again, I always said that I hated this because they act like all men who get turned down by chicks are all the same. Like when they do that gym thing, they really act like no one who's ever gone to the gym has been turned down before. They're like, once you go to this magic building and I don't know, stay in there for a couple of months, you'll never be turned down after that. They have really deified the place people go just to exercise and turned it into the holy grail of dating that will take you to the new higher echelon. Listening to the common expectations by males in dating nowadays, I don't even bother pursuing whatever invitations to pursue are given. I take them with a grain of salt. No, you're just being negative. Just because it turned out the exact same way 70 plus times, the 71st time is definitely going to be different. And if it turns out to be the same as all the other times, well, it's because you were negative, even though you were willing to speak to this person and talk to them as you would anybody else. This is the only topic, besides maybe the unemployment thing, where you get blamed for what other people do. And again, it's only if you're a man. So like, just to give you an example, if I turn down a woman, nobody's going to tell her that she needs to go to the gym or gain a bunch of money to appeal to people like myself. Only if you're a man. Women will block you on their iPhones if you mess up just once. Oh, I know that. That happened to me. So that's why I hate about getting that new phone 4 years ago, because I don't have the old text messages with people where I told like a botched joke and then this woman blocked me after months and months of talking about how much I meant to her and all that trash. And I would reiterate, like I would show the screenshots of it, but I don't have them anymore. So you just have to take my word for it. Plenty of negative people prosper in mating, so the it's your negative mindset talk gets harshly ignored. Well, again, it's also just them assuming that every single time you've spoken to a chick, you've never believed it was going to turn out the way you wanted it to, which isn't true. And if you act in the same manner that you did when you were positive as you would when you're negative, I don't see how that's actually of any effect. Because remember, they always say that your mindset influences your actions. But if your actions are preconditioned to still work the same way they did as when you were positive, I don't see where it makes a difference. I could say that the next woman I speak to will completely waste my time, but if I still speak to this person and try to appeal to them, I don't understand where my mindset is supposedly having this big, huge, disastrous result. But again, it's less so about being able to explain how someone's views affect the actions of other people, and more so just trying to blame the man no matter what. Yeah, I don't see them get criticized or blamed for anything they do. No, the reason I gave the stream the title that it did is because I was thinking about how, what's a good way of saying it? The dingbat with the baby had a child that she couldn't take care of over a year ago, and it was with a man who she had drained the resources of when he was paying for her storage unit. So you knew that he had less money than he had in the past. And I thought to myself, isn't it funny that a person ends up getting what I want, not by signing up to a bunch of stupid dating websites, not by quote unquote working on herself, because she didn't go to the gym, she didn't have wordplay, or what's the other stupid one they say? Have a, I mean, damn, at the time she was with him for a while, she was homeless. So it's like, here's this person who literally had to do nothing besides having a triangle between her legs, and they get what you want. They get to have a family. But then your ultimate fate is to just keep talking to a bunch of chicks that give it a week or two or a month will say they're not interested, and then you have to go back to the drawing board, and the cycle just repeats itself year after year. And one day she came over here because I don't interact with this person. They talk to the people that live with me, and I was on the phone with the same broad I mentioned in the video I did last, what was that, Tuesday, where I was talking about how Bird Brain said that you have to offer something or put more on the table than just dedication to a relationship. And then I offered this broad to move in with her so she could save money instead of having her whole paycheck consumed by her apartment. I was talking to that person when the dingbat with the baby came over here one day, and I was thinking to myself, this is my fate. I'm just always going to have to speak to these broads who, within a couple of weeks or a month, will say they're not interested, and then meet another one. Then the cycle repeats itself. It's just this never-ending thing, and then get told by people online that magically one year this will suddenly shift or change on you. The narcissism and entitlement of women in dating is disgusting, honestly. Yeah, but it's not even just them with the entitlement. Like, if you, those gross comments I screenshotted for that video are written by other men. I mean, like, you watch a 12-minute clip of a guy and you've never met this person, but you find 10 flaws in that individual. And remember, all of these flaws that this person's talking about, they're only getting mentioned because this man has a problem with another man's love life. That's what I said in response to John's comment. I still can't get over the person that came on the stream in November talking about, because I said I'm done bothering with chicks, or like I'm not going to go to the gym or any of that trash. And he was like, "Where's the upward mobility?" It's like, well, hell, the bras won't let you have any. It's like he's over here negotiating with this bimbo, and then her response is to say, "Well, I personally don't find you attractive." Like, all right, go goodbye. But you know, that person's the reason that nothing evolves or changes. They're the ones blocking any progress. That fighting feeds their ego and despise dudes who diminish their dignity by getting involved. Yeah, but see, the reason I'm mentioning that person is because when people want to attack you over not being with a woman, they make a lot of assumptions. What's why I call it bad faith assuming. And one of the assumptions was that, oh, you offer nothing. And I'm like, well, I can name multiple instances where I offered various women something and they still said no. And I even gave 2 examples during that video. I didn't mention the third one with the woman that I was going to fly out here because I didn't. It wasn't necessary. But I just think it's funny that, you know, as you're being told that you offer nothing, no one ever asks, what is the woman going to offer you besides, again, a triangle in between her legs? And that's one of the reasons I think a lot of people who tell somebody to keep approaching after getting the same result over and over are really evil, because they're telling you that you should forever be stuck in this endless cycle of not getting anything out of talking to these people, but still acquiescing to their petulance, still wasting time with them. Break up with, I don't even know who that is. Only broad I ever dated was Hispanic. And again, turned out to be, she was so nice that whole month before we started this courtship. And after I agreed to her terms and conditions, she turned out to be the biggest gold digger in US history. I mean, damn. I cook, clean, and leave. Well, again, the point I was making was, you're being told to offer a utility to a bunch of people that people are assuming will offer you a utility. Because again, none of these people who criticize me have ever seen what any of these broads look like, because I don't post their pictures. But they're trying to use their idea of a woman to attack me as a person. Well, I mean, you saw the comment in that video where the person had, like, you have 10 commandments in the Bible, and this person put 10 things I'm supposed to do to try and alter the chances of me getting with the broad. So yeah, there are a lot of terms and conditions that that's why I said relationships aren't even fun anymore. It's just you talking to a bunch of people who don't care about you, and then being told to care about that group of people that treat you like trash, that stand in the way of the things you want to do. You're supposed to be concerned about them and what they like. I said in the video, this isn't even romance anymore. It's some weird strategic simulation. I had some prick on my video talking about approach 200 women in a month. Like, what? Who has the time for that? And who would even be able to speak to, like? So I said they don't even think it through. They just say things, just spam something on the keyboard, feel better. That would be funny if like I increased the number of chicks to like 200 and go talk to another 100. Like, hey, look at all these screenshots I've got of these chicks turning me down. I'm supposed to act surprised. I forgot. If a bunch of girls turn you down, do you think any self-reflection needs to be done on your part? Uh, well, see, this is my thing, right? We're supposed to believe that women are different. So if you get the same result from each one, doesn't that kind of infer the idea that they act the same, that there is no difference, that they come to the same conclusion? And the reason a lot of people don't do self reflection at this point is because you'll actually get turned down even by some chicks who will gas you up and say positive things about you. I still have the screenshot of the broad who said I was too good for her on my channel, and then somehow still end up turning me down. So if you don't believe me, I'll do a whole video with that screenshot. I'm just tired of feeling ashamed for somebody else's decision, because I guarantee you, if I turned down 90 chicks, nobody would tell a single damn one of them, do you think you need to do some self-reflection after the great, amazing Justin decided you were not worthy of caressing his backside? No one would do that. I get that these broads weird, but I more so mean if you approach a dozen women and they all say no, perhaps your approach may have been wrong. Well, then that assumes that every time you approached, it was the same thing. Because if you approach a large number of them, you can reasonably assume the person didn't do the same things or say the same things with each one of them. Especially since at the time I was mostly active, which was like, the 2000 2017 period. I used to watch advice videos and do different things based off of what I would see. Sometimes you would brag about yourself. Sometimes you would be, I guess, less confident on purpose. But my point is, to say that someone should feel bad because of dozens of chicks saying no requires a lot more nuance than just, oh, they all said no, so you're a piece of garbage. No need to go to gym. No need to refer to women by insulting names. No need to listen to people who still tell you to go for it. Feel free to engage a matchmaker. Stop pitying yourself. That's true, but if a friend of mine was constantly failing with women, and I mean constantly, after a while, you may have to ask the question if he's doing something wrong. Well, listen, that's how I used to think before I came online and saw all these different damn men who I've never met, who I can deduce did things that were not the same as me because we're not all the same person, get the same result. And that's why, like, it's so I'm done with feeling bad over what they have done, because I'm not the only person by a long shot that they've affected in this way. That's why all those romance groups exist. Again, if it was just me, I would go, oh man, I'm such a, and I used to think that. But then when I saw my best friend, who I thought the world of, who, even though we have a lot of similarities, we do have some very stark differences, like the fact that he is in school and employed, get the same result as me. I said, yeah, this kind of seems like it's just happening to a bunch of men because a lot of chicks have ridiculous standards. Hell, I've even had people I went to school with and haven't spoken to since then that I don't even talk to come and say, yeah, this is happening to me as well. Thanks for doing the videos. There are guys who just know how to get girls, so I don't know, might be the universe. Well, I can't even take the advice people give seriously anymore, because every time they give it, there's some instance of it getting shattered. Like, for example, I asked the dingbat with the baby, or rather, I didn't ask her advice. She gave it voluntarily. But she said, you have to do work to get with the woman. And then I found out through her own mouth, so I know it's the truth, that all it took for her to get with this man that she's been with for years was him coming up with his little stupid voice and going, I like you. And that was it. And then they went on the date, and then the rest was terrorism. I mean, history. So it doesn't, even when people give advice, you still can find instances where the advice got thrown out the window because there's no one specific way to have this happen. Have you tried self-reflection? Well, nobody said that all women are gold diggers. So I don't know who said that on here. I didn't say it. Oh, there's Megumi. Let me read his first comment. I'll read his first. Oh, okay. You're talking to non-binary. Let me read Megumi's comment. Exactly. Why can't people just get that through their damn heads? Guys will get shamed and be told constantly that they are inferior while the chick is assumed to be perfect with no flaws. Yeah, you don't see people going on the videos of women and they do videos about men, tell them they need to go to the gym, tell them they need 6 figures or a degree, especially when most people don't even have a degree, whatever. It's like you don't see them being told that they have to change something fundamentally about themselves to get a partner. It's only with men. And the reason I can't buy into it is it's happened to so goddamn many of us that to suggest it's just me as a person is to make me into a bigger thing than I actually am. What gets me is that the person who was trying making things happen or change things is at fault, but the woman was the one that said no. Well, again, that's why you're the romance scapegoat. So you go out of your way to try to make this happen. You acquiesce to the petulance of all these different chicks. Then you get turned down. And instead of people saying, wait a second, this person really accepted these people for who they are, and they told him that he was a piece of garbage. Maybe it's them and not him because he finds all these people he's perfectly content with. Nope. Time to get stapled to the cross. You're the villain. You're the one with the 99 million flaws. All the chicks are perfect, and we could never criticize them for anything. Seriously, I could do a whole video on all the different stuff I've been criticized for on here. I've been attacked for my appearance, the way I speak. Again, most of it just because people want to defend chicks. Let me see here. Regardless if the guy was offering utilities to her. Well, we talked about that on the video I did on Tuesday. It's fine, Megumi. We don't have a this isn't a class, so you can show up whenever you want. Let me read non-binary's comment. No one here has made the argument that women are gold diggers. Yeah, that's what I said is so creepy about people that respond to my stuff because they're not even responding to the points that are being conveyed. I've never said that all women are gold diggers. I said the only one I dated coincidentally turned out to be an enormous gold digger after this courtship started because literally she transformed on me. Like you go from not asking the person for anything to begging them for money 10 times in 7 days. I think that's a very evident, ridiculous pattern. But I've always made the distinction that that was one person who did that. And you have a lot of people who come on here and tell you that you need to have some excess of wealth to get with a woman. So the people who want to attack me personally are inferring that women are gold diggers. Because I'm not the one going around saying that once you get this secret number of coins, all these chicks will like you suddenly. Because the guy that the dingbat with the baby got with, he's not wealthy. So I don't buy it. I'm just saying that if you go off of what people say on here, they're the ones who are saying that chicks are gold diggers. Meanwhile, not all women are so base and self-absorbed as you are making out again. Well, what base and self-absorbed? If you encounter women who expect demand something in exchange for whatever blow, what Euro said, Transformers like Decepticons. That's why I said that on that stream I did. Damn, if I think I might still have those No, I don't, because that was again 2016. But if you saw the stuff she was writing before and then after it started, you would think it was two different people. You would think she was what's that one Transformer with the 3 personalities, Blitzwing? That's what she was. Yeah, well, James, they don't respond to what I have to say. They just, I don't even know what's going on anymore. Well, that's why they do so much of that personal attacking, because rather than explain how what this person did make sense, we're going to make you out to be a piece of garbage and totally worthless so that this person can be justified in how they treated you. And non-binary says, No one is making that argument. No one ever said that women are self-absorbed. You're not making any effort to address the actual arguments being made. Big reveal. I am a woman who did not marry for money, but because of mutual interest. Well, again, no one says that you can't, that none of them will marry someone because they like the person. I was simply saying that when you look at a lot of the commentary online, it leads itself to very negative and disturbing connotations about women in general. So again, I don't go around telling someone that to get with a woman they have to have some ridiculous physique, because I've seen multiple men who are overweight, including commentators on this website, be married. I just think it's funny that like I'm the one who's supposed to be anti-chick or whatever, but I'm not drawing the negative connotations that the people who defend them are, or who are trying to like argue against me. It's a lot of men in this community are tired of getting hurt by women. I don't know non-binary. They just people say whatever on here. Hey, this is the Monday Madness, so you can expect anything. Well, I don't know what you're trying to address, because you're talking about them not being shallow, and nobody said all of them were. It's just insane. Somehow women are allowed to say all to generalize all guys when they critique, and a lot of guys justify and they're okay with it. Well, that's the thing, that like people speak in general. If someone says women do this, they're not saying that they know every single one of them does that. But I always have to say not all, because there are people who, if you refer to women that way, will call you sexist. Whereas if a woman says men do this, you don't see men stuff down her throat over a simple generalization that people make when they're talking about people. Some collective group. Have you tried a long distance relationship with a woman from another country? Yeah, 3 years ago, and she not only backflipped on me after a couple of days, but I just described it on here, and I had some. That was what Bird Brain was responsible about. You showed too much interest. I'm like, you had a woman who literally agreed to get married because her religion doesn't allow her to date. That's why I was going to go along with that. And then a couple of days later, renege. But I'm the one who is like the problem here. Okay, so I said, imagine a hypothetical, right, where I agreed to marry a woman and then I reneged a couple of days later. I would be called flaky. I would be called unreliable. I would be called, just any nasty term you can think of for doing that to somebody. But when it happens to me, because I don't have the magic triangle, I'm the villain. Let me see. It's just insane. Somehow women are allowed to say all to generalize all men. They don't need to be careful when they critique others. Well, that's because people have this like really weird thing about defending chicks, like all of them. To like, you even saw this with Triple H, where she was bending over backwards to defend a woman she'd never met nor is going to meet. Um, and they refuse to accept the idea that you can criticize women. It's like it's not allowed for some reason. That's why people got mad at Jimmy for criticizing AOC, even though he was just talking about her as a politician the same way that he would describe any other politician. Like, for whatever reason, as long as you've got the triangle, people just throw themselves in the way to defend you. And again, I don't mind defenses if they're actually substantive. So if you defend somebody by saying, I think this, what they did made sense because blah, 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 blah. But that's not what happens. Their defense is to call you sexist, is to start saying nasty things about you, and it just doesn't address the points that are being made. Well, that's why I'm not affiliated with those groups. Like I said, every time those terms get mentioned by somebody, they're brought in by another person. I have not watched a single relationship video done by a person that wasn't myself in 4 years, because I'm not part of the team, and I don't have anyone on this website that speaks for me, and I'm confident in my beliefs. No, it's not men versus women. It's lies versus people. Yeah, they have plot armor. They can defend. They can be defended just by anybody for stuff that you would criticize somebody else over all the time. Well, see, that's the thing about the quote unquote gender war. Like, I'm the main group of people attacking me for my views on chicks are other men. So, whose side am I supposed to be on? Other than, my team, that is me. Seriously, I literally can't remember the last time a woman left a gross, disgusting, rude comment on my video. It's always another man. But I'm supposed to be on their team in the gender war. Man. What sense does that make? Like, why would I want to be on their team as they're attacking me in the place of the other group of people? Which I still think is the craziest thing to come out of all of this. That I will go to my grave knowing that the majority of people who called me ugly, the majority of people who said I was too whatever to not get with a woman, uh, are other men. And I compared it to this. Imagine criticizing McDonald's and saying you'll never eat there again, and then you get death threats from Burger King. Like, it's just, I don't understand how this impacts them in any way. And to see them type in paragraphs trying to analyze me, and it's really weird. This website has revealed a lot of crazy behaviors. But I really do find it sad because there are people who want this to be my fate. That forever you are just going to keep talking to a bunch of chicks for whatever number of time. They're going to say no after gassing you up with a bunch of positive comments. Then you're going to come online and get attacked by people based off of how they perceive you to have acted during that courtship. And then it's just going to keep repeating and repeating. Meanwhile, the dingbat with the baby gets to have a family after having cheated on the guy, cursed him out, drained his resources. Like, it's insane to me. I mean, like, I don't understand how anyone would have an incentive to keep doing this. But that's why I called it the romance curse. And you saw what happened on Discord where I really never thought of what happened on there that way until I did that stream last week. Because I just kind of buried it in the back of my mind for a while because I was out of all those servers. It's like, these people will make fun of you for thinking that talking to chicks is a waste of time, but then when you talk to them, they're going to accuse you of trying to get with them and make fun of you. Like, it's like they really did create a scenario where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's just like one time when Nipsey Hussle died, this one guy that I used to watch made a video talking about him in a kind of disparaging manner. Like, I don't really remember all that was said, but in the comment section, one of the, I guess, chicks that liked him attacked the guy by saying that he was someone who didn't get screwed until he had enough money to pay a prostitute for it. And I was thinking to myself, if he hadn't have paid, in this hypothetical that she's talking about, if he hadn't have paid the prostitute to get screwed, he would get mocked for not having had sex. But then when he pays for it, he's mocked for paying for it. So it's literally you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It somehow doesn't count to do the thing that these people say you should have done at a certain point, when it was literally made impossible for you to do it in any other way besides that way that you did it. People don't help with being able to just be, and they'll annoy you about how you are the source of your problems when someone is clearly just sharing their frustrations. Yeah, you lose either way, non-binary. No. That person was saying it about the one that made the video on him. I mean, we know all these singers and rappers are with chicks. Come on. I'm saying the story of the person who had the video that did the video is kind of disturbing. Like, I shared what happened to him a couple of years ago, but he like just imagine having a woman move in with you and you let her set your house while you work and pay the bills and whatnot, and then she ends up cheating with you on Instagram with some other guy. Oh my god! That's why I said that this broad stuff has really made people just go crazy. Now, you know, all the singers and rappers and actors and the rest of those are with chicks. Which that's another thing when they start talking about that status stuff. It's like you do realize that most people are not famous, right? So you're telling this random man that he needs to, I guess, be world known to get with a woman. Like what? But people actually believe this stuff. It's like there's this never-ending hoops for you to jump through if you're a man. And then if someone's a chick, they can just do whatever. They're fine as they are. Because when I was telling you about the dingbat with the baby, that's a person who, like, I didn't understand what the appeal of her was. She made herself homeless. Uh, apparently cheated on the guy, and he just kept coming back. And I was like, what kind of bizarre world is this where someone who goes out of their way to ruin their relationship with somebody has that person just so dedicated and committed to them that not only do they stay with them, but they're assisting them in this financial way. And then if you're a man and you do all this stuff to try and appeal to these chicks, you just keep getting crapped on and stuck in this never-ending hamster wheel that people tell you will eventually end, despite there being no reason to believe them based off of what has actually occurred in real life. Envoy, 4 or 5 months before she got knocked up, I went to the mall and with my own 2 eyes saw her hugged up on some other guy. And I mentioned this to another relative. And then about a week or two later, the guy found out about that same guy and they got into an argument. And that's the longest, most successful relationship I've seen between two people the same age as me. And it's like I look at that and I'm like, why would I want that? Why would I want to be with a person who I've got to empty my bank account for because they were too stupid to not curse out the person they were, living under the, I guess, rules of? Why would I want to be with that person who, as I'm doing that, is also cheating on me with another person? Like, who would find that appealing? And then it's like, that's reality, right? Like, that's something that's actually happened. And then you've got these people online gassing you up. When you go to the gym, this woman's going to show up and she's going to look so good and she's going to like you. It's like, but what is she going to do? Is she going to beg me for money like the last woman I was with 4 years ago? Because if she is, I don't want that one either. Like this is every time these people describe relationships and then I actually see them in real life, they look like trash. People like actually think that once you get with a woman, you live happily ever after. No, Megumi, why would you rather be by yourself and get to keep your money, or would you want to be with a woman who you have to spend thousands of dollars on every month while she cheats on you with another man? Possibly. Who wants that? But see, that's when people are like on here deifying chicks, they act like people such as the one I just mentioned and will continue to mention because how awful she is, don't exist. They act like all of these chicks, once they get with you, are just going to open up this magical. I have a guy who I talked to on Discord. His friends with he talks to some other person, but the guy said that once you get with a woman, it expands your horizons. And I was laughing because that reminds me of that that Viridian City song from the first season of Pokemon. I left my home and now I see a new horizon. But one day I'll go back to Pallet Town. Like people actually just throw these words around and they don't even know what they mean. The woman's going to expand your horizon by draining all your resources for a little stupid room for her to keep her boatload of clothes in. That's the horizon expansion. That's what he reminded me of when he said horizon. That's the first thing that came to my mind. At least in that song, I knew what they were talking about. You know, you want to win the league, but with these chicks, I don't like. What horizon are they are they expanding or introducing? What do any of them do besides having a triangle? Like this is nuts. I've never seen a group of people get deified simply for existing. You know, like when I have people compliment me, they'll talk about something I can actually like say, oh, I like that drawing you did, or I like that video you did. With a woman, oh, I like the way you look, even though there are a whole bunch of attractive looking chicks. So, you know, you are now worth jumping through all of these hoops for. Well, the one chick I did date was Hispanic. She did look good, but again, she turned out to she won a world record for begging every day for a whole week. Please give me money. Please give me money. Shut up. Absolutely. Hey, remember the new nonsense. Now, you know what? That person from earlier, that lead person, um, as much as what they were typing wasn't really ideal, they're still way better than the one from November because, see, they left. They didn't sit there and keep trying to argue and debate in some never-ending back and forth. So that person at least is better than the one from the November. Like, yeah, they were trying to be antagonistic, but they weren't outright insulting. So, you know, I'm not going to, if they want to come back, I'd probably let them. And then they can have a chance to screw up and actually get yanked. But wait, notice how when you're single, it's hard to get money. It's not even just that. When you're with a woman, you end up like, this is why when I did the why prostitutes are better than girlfriends video, the whole point of the stream was to say that if people are going to tell you that you need to have an inordinate amount of money to get with a woman, which is not true. Because again, how do these men in the hood have children if you do they have some secret bank account that we don't know about, like offshore? But I was saying that if you have to have this inordinate amount of money to get with a woman and people are going to accuse you of only wanting to be with one to have sex when there are men who actually want a partner that they like and speak to and whatever, then I don't see what the point of talking to all these chicks is if you can just get screwed for a price. You mean when you're single, it's hard to get money. When you're with one of these women, you can't, like, again, I can name multiple other people who, when they were with a woman, spent a whole bunch of money on her. I've seen some guys who will spend more money on a broad they're with than their own kid. That's why I said if all they can be is this suction cup for cash, I don't want any of them. Was quite amusing seeing so many people miss the point of that video. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if I run for office, they'll take that stream and go, well, he look at what he said about women. It's like, thank you for taking that out of context. I really appreciate it. I have to change the title to why prostitutes are better than some girlfriends. Like, no, I'm not ashamed of my views on these issues because I can explain them. Before you know it, you're like 25,000 grand out the hole, wondering where your life went. LOL. Well, that's what I said about the guy because I know that he spent like literally thousands of dollars on a room for her to keep a bunch of clothes in. Like, you're not spending thousands so this person can, I don't know, work somewhere. or go to school. It's for a stupid room with a bunch of dumb clothes that they don't even wear. Like, that's why I said, what is the point of being with them if they offer nothing besides being a money suction cup, turning you down over and over again, and then being used as a way to attack you by people who've never met you online, as is the case here? Like, what good are they? Well, listen, if you want to believe I'm short, I'll let you believe that. We already live in the twilight zone, so we'll let you live in the twilight zone, the internet. Seriously, that question has been spammed on so many damn videos. And they act like there's no short men who have ever gotten with somebody. Like, that's crazy to me that they really treat. I'm so glad that I am the height I am, because I know that if I were less, they would try to use that against me. So that's one more tool I took out of your toolbox. But again, I'm gonna let him believe I'm whatever he wants me to be. Honestly, Justin, I just think they're lonely. They need a woman next to them. Well, yeah, but why do they have to attack me over it? Like I said, there are a whole bunch of men who still go out and talk to chicks, and I think it's a waste of time, but you don't see me harassing them. My best friend actually said, "Oh, this might be the year I finally stop." It's like, no, no, no. You do whatever you want. If you feel like you get the same result from sitting at your house that you would with talking to a bunch of chicks who don't care about you, then you know you know what to do. I don't go around giving unsolicited advice. Yeah, they love writing that, James. It's hilarious. Like I said, I'll let them believe that. I'm not ashamed of my appearance. I said that before. You can subscribe to whatever theory you have of me. It's completely fine and dandy. And I especially love ones like that where it's actually factually incorrect, but because I don't feel like answering the same question a million times, I'll let them keep it. I just think it's really scary that like they use a physical trait like that. Because again, I can name multiple men who are short that got with somebody, and they're like, yes, this is the reason. So the antagonism by men to other men on this website is just brewing. Apparently, it's been confirmed there have been no dates with short guys. Yeah. Well, I don't even know what they mean by short, because I've seen people talk trash about the average male height in the U.S. is 5'9". So I've seen people talk trash about people that are like that height specifically. Like, they really think they will use someone's height as the boogeyman. Because my best friend, he's 5'7". They'll use his height against him. I said, look, that's BS. If it weren't that, it would just be something else. All right. Well, if you think I'm 5'5", we'll let you believe that. And how the hell does someone look a certain height? What does that even mean? I've been analyzing your body, and I can tell how tall you are. I got my yardstick out in front of the camera on the screen. But again, isn't it sad when instead of addressing the point somebody's making, you have to talk trash about the way they look? See, those under 6 feet, the majority of people are under. Well, listen, the majority of people are not rich. The majority of people don't have a 6-pack or an 8-pack. But they that's why I said they want you to achieve these Herculean type feats just to get with a broad. And like, no one thinks this is weird or crazy. Also, the average man back in the ancient days were five. Yeah, there. I mentioned this before. One of my favorite actors, Donald Pleasance, was 5'6". He got married not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And you're gonna sit here and tell me that no man who is this particular height will be able to get with the woman? How the hell did these midgets get married? I tell you, that's the new boogeyman. They always find some physical trait to overemphasize. The best point Justin has made in relation to this is that guys have to jump through hurdles, and you literally have to pull out teeth to get a woman to heat up some ramen for you. Yeah, but it's like you're asking this man to do these things just to get a date. And like people apparently don't think that's weird. Imagine if I went on here and I said, I will only date women who are 6 foot. And I will only date women that own 6 figures. And I will only date women that go to the gym. And I will, like, it's weird. Well, good looking is very subjective. I've had people on here say I look nice, and I've had other ones call me ugly. So that literally means nothing. There is no one person that everybody thinks is attractive. Sorry to burst that bubble. And it's like, it's another, I told you, every time gets called ugly on here, it's another man who supposedly is straight. Both genders should jump through hoops. Oh, remember, when you're a man, you can't have standards. Or neither should jump through hoops. It's dumb. No, James, he knows he got the advanced manual on relationships, so he knows that if you're a certain height, you have no chance. There's never been a single instance of anybody at what height did he say that I was? What was that trash? 5'5", yeah. So that's like the cutoff point. No one under that has ever gotten with anybody. Interesting. Let me see which president was 5'4". I think it was Madison. Let me look it up. Yeah, 5'4". But I bet you he wasn't married, because we know that when you're short, there's no women that ever have gotten with short men. It's never happened before. Oh my God, he was. I know, ALU. I'm just saying that as a point to prove that those assumptions aren't based around facts and reality. I don't even know what they're saying. It's like, that's why I said that with this chick stuff, people just hold up these desirable traits and then they make them a bigger deal than they actually are. Like, according to his logic, no one that's over 6 feet has ever been turned down, which if you watch this damn channel, you know isn't true. I mean, it's just crazy. People really just overemphasize certain traits and make it seem like if you don't have them, it's the end of the world. Or if you had this one thing, it would just change everything so drastically. And reverse is, it's always the problem with the guy and not the guy just not liking the girls if she's flawless. The only one of what? The only short person that is married? That has ever, like, what are you talking about? They make you the anime villain of the shonen manga. Oh, he's talking about black people. Well, again, you don't know how tall I am, but you saw I was 5'5", so we're gonna see. That's the lovely part about that Twilight Zone stuff. You're gonna say that, and then at the end of it, I'll be in real life with the actual height that I have, and it'll be incorrect, and I'll laugh at knowing reality. Oh, thanks. I'm open to speaking to people, but I don't. I'm not holding out hope. Like, I'll talk to somebody who wants to talk to me, but I'm not. It's not something I'm entirely optimistic about. It's just sad that there are so many people on this site that, for whatever reason, have convinced themselves that these traits are so what's a good way of saying it, essential that no one has ever been able to get around them. Like, I'm laughing about how ridiculous what he said was, but that is kind of scary that you actually think someone's height is just magically going to alter how many chicks find them attractive, especially when you're talking to ones over the computer who don't even know how tall you are anyway. Yeah, whatever will be, will be. Oh, you know that Vince person, the one that James blocked? James, you remember the Vince person? I was watching that stream again, and he said on the stream that he didn't believe I would date a black woman. And I laughed so hard rewatching that stream because I was called racist like 2 or 3 years ago for saying that I prefer to get with a black woman over other ethnic groups. And it's like you have literally nothing to support the idea that I wouldn't get with someone because of their ethnicity, that particular ethnicity. And you just that's what I'm talking about. They just make these assumptions with no proof of anything. No, I didn't catch that when I was like on the stream, and then when I was rewatching, like, wow, he really wrote that. It's crazy. Nope, just don't idolize them like every other attention-starved dude is. They try to pick out your faults and use them against you. Yeah, and it's always going to just be a never-ending, criticism fest because there are certain people that other people don't find attractive. There are a lot of chicks I don't think are pretty that are still with somebody, but because another man doesn't like the way I look on the computer, I'm screwed. Really. And again, they will attack you over anything. So why even care or bother with trying to appeal to them? I really could do a video showing all the different ways I've been criticized on here. They'll say whatever. Hell, I had the Discord snake actually say while watching my videos, "Is it the glasses?" I'm like, are you really stupid enough to think that when I put these on, the rest of my appearance just magically shifts and changes in front of all these different people? It just gets completely altered. That's why I said people just write stupid stuff on the computer, you know, because it makes them feel better about a situation that they are very ignorant of by virtue of not being there when you spoke to these different chicks. I just don't understand what is so appealing about attacking another person because they aren't with a broad, especially at a time where there's so many men who aren't with one. Because, like I said, these kind of attacks would have really gotten to me, as in like made me feel bad, if this was like 2013 or 14, before I was online and seeing how many different men were affected by this. But when I come on the internet and I see guys I've never met who talk about how ridiculous and very annoying it's been to try to get with a woman, when I have people then saying that I'm the problem, I'm not really convinced. Especially when I've talked about the friend zone and having chicks after they turn you down will still try to keep you in their lives. Like, if you have so many negative traits, you need to work on yourself. Why do they try to keep you around even after turning you down? If you're so bad. But like I said, those points won't be addressed. And instead of actually responding to what I have to say, these men will get into a diatribe about how they don't like my glasses or a jacket or a shirt or somebody's face or voice or the cross I was wearing. Which, by the way, let me explain that because people on here like to assume things. I received this cross for I think it was the Christmas of 2000. I was either 2 or 3 years old at the time. And it was from a relative who would later die when I was in third grade. So I wear it as a memento to that person. And when I was reading some of the stuff that was written, because I've actually had at least 3 instances of computer clowns attacking it, even though it's such a minor part of my appearance. I said, I wore this as a memento, but now I realize I wear this because this is literally me. I'm just on the cross, being verbally crucified every day over a bunch of chicks that these people have never met. So now this is a literal manifestation of what was on my chest for my entire youth. Very accurate depiction of the contemporary ridiculousness that's on here, the new nonsense. And like I said, not a single one of these people that talks trash about the way I look has ever posted a picture of themselves because they're ashamed. I had a guy who literally would watch the relationship videos I did and he would complain about them. And I was like really weirded out by it because I said, why would somebody watch something that they hate? And one of my subs said, if you know how to get with the woman, if you know what he should do, make a video, step out of the shadows, clear the dust, and turn on your camera and articulate to us what fantastic, amazing thing you have to offer that supposedly is going to alter the results for all these different people. And he never did it. King says these experts, they can get lost and kick rocks. You just get so sick and tired of them popping up everywhere to give their unwarranted opinions or unwanted opinions. Excuse me, I misread that. Well, again, the point in describing that story is to talk about how they'll take something as minor as a necklace and twist it into being this thing that is more significant than it is. And that's why I said I've been criticized for everything on here. Well, look, James, just ignore him because he's talking about somebody being 5'5" and multiple years older than they actually are. So he's already showed us that he lives in the Twilight Zone. There's nothing to be gained by engaging with that. I think it's very sad that, as opposed to addressing what someone has to say, you get bogged down in these weird questions and things that don't actually have to do with anything. Which was the point of talking about that story, how something so insignificant can get used against you in this major way. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, get rid of him. Yes, I permit that. So he's on his way out. I didn't even know he was watching. Damn. Write this here too if he doesn't want to read that. Like I said, the whole point of doing a video, especially a stream, is to engage with people about what's being discussed. And since I've never done a stream just randomly talking about my appearance, it's very sad to see a group of supposedly straight males harp on it so much. Yeah, everything, Megumi. But see, the reason they're doing that is not because I'm the worst looking man of all time or any trash like that. It's because when you want to make the chicks seem vindicated in the way that they act, you have to depict the person criticizing them as the second coming of Satan. And that's unfortunately just a thing that people on here like to do. They get off on, that's why I had the song Make Me Feel Tiny If It Makes You Feel Tall. As long as they can castigate you over something that is always going to be out of your control, because you can't, unless you're what's that character from X-Men, Scarlet Witch, where you can like alter reality. Unless you're her, you can't make people like you. Megumi, it has been everything. I had a guy who literally vanished for a year after asking me why I like wear a shirt or whatever, and then was like, "Why do you always wear the same color?" He, like, came back after a year of having vanished to complain about, I guess, a lack of variety of colors of shirts. So we like, hell, don't get mad at me because you don't have any style. But it's like, what, they really, you know what? They need to change the, like, people call YouTube YT as an abbreviation. They need to change the abbreviation to YMCA because the things being asked on here are very gay. And they're by supposedly straight men. Let me see. The wrong colored shirt can lead to rejection. Yeah, they're gonna be like, if you wear red, you'll end up with somebody before you're dead. If you wear green, you'll get the results you've never before seen. If you wear yellow, you'll be a married fellow. But see, that's why it gets so damn ridiculous. Like, and you really have to, I don't like to toot my own horn, but you really have to believe in who you are to not let the nonsense they write on here affect you. Because as much disgusting stuff as they write to me, it doesn't change what actually happens with the chicks. They didn't disturb my fate. This is a sentence imposed by me by a bunch of broads who all happen to think the same. And in response to that, you have these men that, just overanalyze another man for the purpose of justifying those homogenized decisions. I have never seen this person before. Well, a lot of people don't pay attention to the Bible. Don't we have like the largest percentage of like in the US of people that just are not anything, who are agnostic? Oh well. The Bible says a lot of things. The Bible said, "Thou shalt not commit adultery," and not only did the dingbat with the baby, who is a Christian, cheat on that guy, but also still have him end up staying with her. So there's a lot of sinners. Yeah, if I'm really doing sinful stuff, I'm certainly one of the lesser offenders. I don't have any kids I can't take care of. I don't sit around talking to somebody for months that I'm not actually trying to do things with. I don't go around harassing people online for a love life that has nothing to do with me. I feel very content. Yeah. Like, I'm literally the wrong person to come and try to like attack over not obeying the Bible. That is a running gag though, that like there have been Christians that will try to like make me feel ashamed over not doing certain stuff. I said I could have the Pope tomorrow come out and say I'm not what he would consider a Catholic, and I wouldn't care. He's not gonna make me feel bad about something so minor. Bet he'll ignore that part. I didn't know this was a sunrise service. It's like the way these chicks act. You're really gonna come to me and tell me I'm the one who, is disobeying the Bible for real? I was baptized a long time ago. Well, listen, if I'll put it to you like this, because I'm just going to show you how much I am confident in my own belief system. Uh, if God or Jesus would rather punish me for what I choose to wear, which is not revealing, as opposed to punish the serial killers, the terrorists, the child molesters, the thieves, then to hell with both of them. if their priorities are so skewed as to get mad at a man making a video over people who are actually ruining other people's lives, I couldn't care less about either of their opinions of me. Told you, I believe in myself and everything I say on this website. You better believe, repent, and get baptized. Yeah, I'll get right on it. Monday Madness. Hell, by that logic, God should be punishing the dingbat with the baby. She's the one that had the bastard child. Which actually, I don't really, my thing is, I've already explained that before, but the bigger issue is you can't take care of it. Because I know there are a lot of people who just don't want to get married but will stay together. But when you are in wedlock, there's a higher chance of staying together. Whatever. I'm just saying that there's a lot more prolific offenders than me. It really is crazy, as well as just how much flack you get from others just for making videos on these topics. Imagine doing a video where you calmly state your displeasure with the way a group of people have treated you, and then you get told you're going to shoot up a school even though you've never talked about weapons. Then you get told you're going to blow up a building even though you've never talked about harming or doing anything to public property. Then you get told you're going to rape somebody even though you've never talked about doing any such violent act. I don't understand why people have these weird attempts to make you the demon over someone else's choices. And it's even crazier because there are actual rapists and serial killers who've had wives and girlfriends. But they're going to tell me I'm worse than them. Okay. Like I said, by the logic of these people, I am literally worse than serial killers, rapists, child molesters, thieves, terrorists for saying something they didn't like. That's my greatest offense. Have you ever questioned the way you approach others with your religion? Do you wonder if it could be possibly off-putting? No, that would require some level of self-reflection, and a lot of people on here have shown they're not willing to do that. Your intent may be decent, but it's irrelevant right now. Yeah, they come out of nowhere. Just came in and just told you to take off your necklace. Like, damn, how can you bark orders like, yeah, like who is he? who died and made him my master? I command you to remove the necklace. I command you to go to hell. Like I said, this website has brought out the worst in a lot of people. And far be it for me to be surprised that someone would do this. The Bible says, preach to the gospel to every creature that has an ear. Well, I hate to break it to you, but this isn't Sunday school. We're not in a church. Like, I don't know what this has to do with what I'm talking about. Well, remember, Roman bad faith assuming they have no proof that I'm not aware of the Bible, but they like to just run their mouths. Okay, true-born Christian, if you don't like the supposed sinner, go watch somebody else. I don't project my religious views on anybody, so I don't need to have them projected on me. Especially not during a stream that has nothing to do with this topic. Yeah, he's still here, Megumi. And this is like why I don't like those censorship people, because like if you come in here and you make points addressing what I'm talking about, I'll respond. But when you don't block these people, they just keep this going on and on. Like, who the hell is such a devout follower of God that when somebody says, look, I'm not interested, no, wait, let me keep talking to you. Like, it's weird. Yeah, sinful activity that I have not abated in. Like, literally, with the last 3 or 4 people that have been banned on here, every time I say, if you don't like what's being said here, just go watch somebody else. Because then they run their mouths and then the chat gets distracted by them. Here's what I don't get. Do some of these religious folks think, let me berate this man or woman and then I'll join my son? Well, it's just weird. Like, but that's why I said, people who are the opposition to me don't actually address what I'm talking about. Like, if I went through the comments for that Why Don't Approach video, I could maybe find like 3 comments actually respond to something I said in the video. Even the people that agree with me, they're usually just like telling their story. They don't actually say, I agree with this part, I disagree with this part. It's just, let me give my advice and vanish and whatnot. Never just say what they need to say and go. If you're just a messenger, give the message and leave, mission accomplished. But, well, that's my thing, that like when I got rid of the guy in November that like was talking about you're mediocre if you're not with a woman. This person accused me of taking their comments to the context of having no upward mobility. And I'm like, why don't you just go? Like a normal person who believes in their own BS would say, I think you should go to the gym. The person says, no, thank you. And then you would leave. There would be no debate. There would be no back and forth. They would just say their piece and then walk away once it was not taken. I don't get these people at all. Like, why does it matter to them so much that one man doesn't agree with them? This is so nuts. Yeah, why would I want to talk to somebody who's going to berate me for not having the same opinion as them? They seem to be really engaged in the back and forth nonsense. Hey, this is the new nonsense. And again, the internet makes people do things they would never do in real life. Like, you say, hey, I'm not interested in this. Nobody's going to follow you home talking about the preaching the Lord's name. Like, what? This kind of stuff you don't see in the real world. But like I said, when people go online, if you wish to get someone to perhaps open their eyes to your religion, why don't you become their friend and ask them if they want to talk about religion? If not, keep it stepping. But again, it's like, I don't get mad at people who aren't Catholic. Like, I don't care. It's not an important thing to me, because a lot of the people that are the same religion as me will break it as often, as much as they want. And like I said, if I am the biggest offender in the eyes of God, as we have serial killers, child molesters, terrorists, bank robbers, and thieves, I don't care about them. Like, it's very simple. You did it. No, you did it. You did it. No, you did it. Literally that nursery, kindergarten garbage. Anyways, to close this out, because I'm getting a little tired after being harassed by 3 people on the stream today. I think it's very sad that someone who wanted a family isn't allowed to get what he wanted, even though he talked to a whole bunch of different chicks and tried to compromise. But then a broad who didn't have to sign for any stupid dating websites, had a man approach her, cheated on that man, put him in jail, had him pay for her storage unit while she was cursing him out, is able to get something resembling what I would have liked, simply because she has this. So it sucks. I try to do other things that I find fulfilling, but I don't pretend that those types of things don't bother me, because they are very unfair. So thanks for showing up. Hope you enjoyed it. Um, and I'll stream again on Saturday. So I'll see you later.